Pylon listeners, welcome back and getting ready for week 15 of the NFL season is the Pylon crew representing the NFC North here, of course, as always. And there's a lot to talk about here as we head into week 15. A lot of scenarios playing out. The Packers at first, Minnesota and the Bears fighting for their playoff lives. The Lions are too, with a less than 1% chance, but, still fighting. Either way, we're here to break it all down for you week 15. So let's get around to the crew. I'm Big Z, representing the Detroit Lions. Then we got Remy, representing the team up there in the north, Minnesota.
You got to keep the faith, baby. Let's keep the faith and keep feeding Justin Jefferson the ball. Let Dalvin cook. It's playoff push, baby. Let's go. Skull to the bowl.
There it is. There it is. That's the excitement we like to see go to week 15, Remy. Then we got Barney, representing the Bears.
Those Super Bowl odds right now, 20,000 to 1. Anybody thinking what I'm thinking? Let's go!
And then last but not least, the leader of the North currently, the Packers, represented by Kinger.
Gentlemen, as always, great to be back with you.
Let me just point out, I bet it is. I love Kinger's just like every week entrance. It's just like so gentleman-like. Like he's shaking our hands.
That's the way I operate, Remy. You should definitely start to get familiar with that, because that's going to be how I'm rolling from here on out.
Oh, this will be great.
He acts like he's been there before, which they have plenty of times.
Ago.
When the Lions are in first place in the North, when they wrap it up one of these days, I will be elated. I will not be gentleman-like at all. I will keep rubbing in everybody's faces, because who knows if it will ever happen again. But it's got to happen once. It's never happened in the history of the entire world. So when that day happens, I will definitely not take the gentleman-like route for sure. But, man, speaking of your team, Kinger, they get the rare Saturday night game. And this is when college football has their championships going on. Interesting time to have a game on a Saturday night for the NFL. But they are taking on the Carolina Panthers. It looks like they are 8-point favorites currently against them. Over-unders like around 51.5 or so. So how do you feel about this Carolina team? Christian McCaffrey, I don't think, is playing again in this one either. So
yeah, I actually thought we were a little bit earlier than night than the 7:15. So like I was saying to you boys, I committed to watching the Alabama football game, the SEC championship. We're gonna have to alter some plans here, because this has got to take priority here. Big game for us. I mean, all these from here on out are really big for the Packers, as we are in position where we can secure our own, or we control our own destiny in regards to getting that number 1 seed, like we talked about. And the first step is beating Carolina in. So like you said, already set the table for it. Packers 8-point favorites. Panthers are a team that, again, we're looking at on paper. This looks like a game Green Bay should hopefully handle. On the defensive side of the ball, the Panthers really have been very average or below average. Really across the board this year, haven't really shown that they consistently can stop teams on the offensive side of the ball. So, they've got some good players out there, some good young talent. I really like Brian Burns as an edge rusher. Obviously, they've got a couple good young pieces in their secondary as well, but consistency has really been a problem with them thus far. And I like the matchup regards to the Packers in that sense. They've really been clicking offensively, as we've seen for quite some time, really, since the Bucs game. You can say that the Packers have really found a rhythm, specifically with that offensive line playing much better. They let up 3 sacks against pressure in that one. I was reading something today. They've been have not allowed a sack against a blitz since that game. So since the offensive line is playing well, obviously they've been able to really control the time possession and do what they want on the offensive side, and hoping they can do consistency or continue that this week with Carolina. Rodgers is on track right now for career highs in his QB rating, completion percentage, which is pretty crazy. So they've really been efficient with it, and I think the matchup fares well for them to hopefully put up some points, and we'll see what we can do on the defensive side, as always.
Man, and it pisses me off that the Lions somehow got shut out by this shitty Carolina defense. I mean, they just gave up 32 points last week to the Broncos, and the Lions couldn't score a single goddamn point against them. So this I would imagine you're giddy. I mean, Drew Lock threw for 4 touchdowns and 280 yards last week, Kinger. You got to like
definitely. Like I said, offensively, I mean, you just got to like Green Bay against anybody right now. At least I think we have the ability to put up points against anybody right now. We're gonna see what we do on the defensive side. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater. Again, something else I saw today was like he's like the second best in the league at avoiding bad negative plays, but he's also like the third worst at like finding positive plays. So he's just obviously a very consistent quarterback. That's always what he's been. Just has the ability to lead the offense, but nothing really flashy about him. But Green Bay, this with the defense, this sets up for a game where maybe Teddy Bridgewater and those receivers go nuts for, DJ Moore's coming back off the COVID list, it looks like. So who knows, right? No McCaffrey's definitely big. The Packers have struggled really to stop the run and the screen game specifically the last few weeks. That was something that really needs to be addressed. And, we'll see if our corners step up and the secondary plays well. Because I could see, this is a kind of typical Packers defense. Dom Capers historically, Mike Pettin now. Just let up a lot of yards and, rely on big plays, getting pressure, some interceptions, turnovers, right? We'll see what we can do. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't turn the ball over.
So, Kinger, there's another thing I want to bring up with you. Since we kind of know what these both teams are in this game, but I just want to bring up with you really quickly MVP odds. Patrick Mahomes minus 200 right now, and this is per DraftKings. Second is Aaron Rodgers at plus 175. Then you got Josh Allen at 16-1, and it goes up from there. So basically, it's down to Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, but Patrick Mahomes still being the heavy favorite. Do you agree with that? Should Patrick Mahomes or make the case why Rodgers should get it over Mahomes? Because just looking at the stats really quick, Mahomes 33 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers 39 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And Mahomes has it looks like 550 more yards passing.
Yeah, the yardage thing is definitely gonna edge more in Mahomes' favor, always just naturally because the Chiefs do throw the ball more than what Green Bay does. Now Rodgers has only thrown 50 times once this year. 2 years ago, right before LaFleur took over, he threw 50 times, 9 times, right? So, the offense is a lot more balanced. But those numbers you just said, right? I think the one thing that the Chiefs still do have is the Chiefs are still a one-loss team, right? They still have that over the Packers. Mahomes is the reigning MVP. I think he's still the champ when it comes to that, right? And I'm not saying he's better, but right now he's the reigning MVP. I still understand why his odds are slightly favored over Rodgers. But like you said, the numbers speak for himself. Rodgers, I mentioned earlier, he's on for career highs in a number of statistical categories. You look back at his previous MVP seasons, and he's right on par, if not better than those. Obviously, Mahomes is a little bit of a different beast maybe than he was facing at those times, but you can't discredit the other quarterbacks, obviously, in the previous seasons he's won. So, I think it's pretty close to dead even from here on out. We'll just see who plays better in these last 3 games. I have all the confidence in the world in Aaron, and obviously I would vote for him for MVP right now, but we got to wait and see what happens. There's still some more football to be played.
And Barney and Remy, what do you think? Does Aaron Rodgers be MVP just based on the stats?
I don't think so. I think, just because I'm a Bears fan, I'm not going to say Aaron Rodgers. But, you brought up the fact that he's winning in the touchdown and interception ratio right there. He's got 39, I think you just said, and 4 INTs. This isn't a knock because it's all about getting points, and then it doesn't matter how you get points. It's all about scoring. But when the Packers are inside, the 15-yard line, at least in my perspective, there's just no way Aaron's letting anybody take the ball out of his hands. And, he has probably the best connection in the NFL with Devontae Adams. And, I think inside the 10-yard line, that guy just absolutely loves to eat touchdowns. And I'm not surprised that if he ends the season with more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes.
Remy, what do you think? Aaron Rodgers MVP? I know you're all about it, right, man?
So, no, I hate the guy, but here's the only thing separating. Here's the only thing separating Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. And Kinger pointed on it. It's the one loss. That is it. Aaron Rodgers can keep doing the stupid things he's doing, and I also hate Patrick Mahomes. So in a world of my sports mind, this is just pure hell for me. But no, it's just, yeah, Rodgers has the stats, and, great stats. Brett Favre threw for his most statistical career when he was a Viking. Just had to throw that in there. Anyway, so, no, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is like having a pretty all right season, and the only thing that's separating his MVP candidacy legitimate is the wins, and you just got to be better. If you want to be an MVP, you have to win, and you just got to be better at that. So, yeah.
And there is one more stat that really separates Patrick Mahomes, Kinger, from Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you're familiar with EPA at all, expected points added. But Patrick Mahomes has a 25% higher EPA than Aaron Rodgers. This is like one of those advanced stats that people vote.
Sabermetrics.
What about no look passes?
It's the sabermetrics of football, I guess. They don't call it sabermetrics of football.
I know.
It's called advanced stats.
I've never heard of that stat.
Yeah, EPA. A lot of especially voters, I think, use it. And Patrick Mahomes has 121.3. And then Aaron Rodgers is 94.2. You can go look it up if you want to see how they make these things. I just want to say that his EPA is way higher, and that's a metric that a lot of these voters look at, unfortunately, for some people.
Okay. Well, I appreciate, I love learning about new stats, so that, learn about a new one tonight. EPA, I'll have to look into that. But I would just want to say, in just a quick response to Barney, and I guess your point there, Big Z, Rodgers this year in the red zone, or what the Packers like to call it as the gold zone, because of their love for Austin Powers Gold Member. Rodgers leads the NFL with 32 touchdowns, no interceptions inside the 30-yard line, first in QB rating, and has a 73% completion rating. So he is absolutely lights out inside that red zone, gold zone, whatever you want to call it. And you're absolutely right, Barney. That is a big reason why he is putting up those numbers.
I wonder how many flags are thrown inside that zone to really push him to the 1 or like up to the 5. Is that may be the yellow zone?
I'm tired of responding to these referee comments.
All right, so Kinger, give us let's go around and give our predictions here. Kinger, start with you.
I like where we're at here, right? This is a game where I see the Packers putting up another 30 points at least. I'm hoping to see us maybe cross that 40 threshold again. I don't have a lot of confidence or faith in that Panthers defense. But again, it's going to see what we can do on the defensive side of the ball. We blitzed more last week against the Lions than we have any other time this season, 16 times. Didn't really write home in regards to results. We'll see what we can do against a Panthers offensive line, obviously, that has been very mediocre throughout most of the season here. So I like Green Bay. Again, I'm going to take them 35-17.
Barney.
I think that's a pretty close estimate for myself as well. I think Green Bay handles them. I'm going to say it's not as big of a deficit as you're saying. I would say 28-20, missing the spread by 0.5.
All right, Remy.
Pylon listeners, we already know the golden rule, and that's to never bet on the Packers. Fuck the Packers. I got the Panthers winning this 28-24. Let's go, Teddy.
You better sprinkle a little money on that. You better sprinkle a little money on that money line since you just threw that out like that, Remy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go here. Man, what do I like? I do think the Panthers have the ability to score against this defense to a degree. So I'm gonna go 30-20 Packers here. That's what I like. So let's move on now to the next game. There's not much to talk about this game, really. It's the Lions. We travel to Tennessee. Right now, they're listed as 10.5-point underdogs. But part of that is because Matt Stafford, we don't know if he's going to play or not. I think if he is starting, that number maybe moves down to 8.5, 7.5. 7.5 sounds right, 8.5. But, man, this Lions team is just so depleted right now. Injury-wise, we fired a coach, obviously. And then going against the top rusher in the NFL, Derrick Henry. Yes, he's better than Dalvin Cook, Remy. Derrick Henry, especially December. Derrick Henry is a different guy. December
see.
Derrick Henry the past few years has been a completely different guy. So I'm extra worried about seeing Derrick Henry.
Dalvin has missed 1.5 games, so that's how Derrick Henry has more yards than him. You get go on, but let me.
The best ability is availability.
Go
buddy.
on with your shit. We'll talk about it later.
Derrick Henry has 200 more rushing yards currently. 180 right now.
Oh, yeah, Dalvin gets that in a game and a half.
Yeah. But anyways, so I'm extremely worried about the Lions going against Derrick. They couldn't stop the Packers' run game last. They haven't been able to stop the run barely all year, for that matter, let alone Derrick Henry. And then you throw in the way A.J. Brown, and even Corey Davis is stepping up now in this offense, and the Lions are missing their starting 2 cornerbacks and possibly a third. Going into this game, it spells disaster on the defensive side. Then when you throw in the fact that Frank Ragnow, we were talking about this before. We didn't talk about this yet. A fractured throat. Have you guys ever heard of a fractured throat injury before? Did you even know you could fracture your throat?
I thought you could only fracture bones.
Wait,
I thought you could only fracture bones. Is your throat a bone?
Yeah, I was trying to look into this, and I don't know. I mean, Frank Ragnow fractured his throat, I guess, in the first quarter in the game against the Packers. By the way, he didn't allow a sack or a pressure or anything. He played through the rest of the game. He was making lying calls and everything. So I don't even know how they found out he fractured his throat, if he felt fine, or maybe it's one of those adrenaline things, like after the game's over, you wind down, and then you start to feel those injuries a little more. That's definitely happened in the past for me. But regardless, so he missed practice today. Our top center, arguably a top 3 center in the NFL. Frank Ragnow is awesome. He's kind of hidden behind the fact that he plays for the Lions, unfortunately. But with that injury, and then Stafford had luckily no broken ribs. That was key. But man, it looks like he might miss this game coming up. He's a tough son of a bitch, so I think he could play this game still. But if he does, he's gonna be playing sore. And I don't know if it's worth him playing when your team is pretty much out of the playoff race, although they're not out of it yet. I just want to throw in this really quickly for Lions fans listening. What the Lions need to do to make the playoffs. First of all, they need the Vikings to beat the Bears. Then they need the Bears probably beat Jacksonville next week, and then the Bears lose to Green Bay week 17. That's first scenario. Second scenario, Vikings, after they win this week, they're going to lose to New Orleans in week 16, and then lose to the Lions week 17. And then the Cardinals are playing the Rams, they're playing the 49ers, and one other team I can't remember. But they're going to lose 2 of those 3. The Lions win out, they get in the playoffs. That's the scenario. So the Cardinals, Bears, and Vikings all lose 2 of the remaining 3 games. The Lions win out, get in the playoffs at 8-8. That's what it takes. That's that 1% chance. I just want to throw out the playoff scenario there for everybody interested. I know everybody is interested.
And then he woke up from his dream.
you're not out of it until you are out of it, and that is how the Lions get in. So I will have a rooting interest still this weekend. That's all I want. And there was also another interesting hire here, and Remy, you know his brother because he obviously has been GM for the Vikings for years. But Chris Spielman gets hired to pretty much lead. It's like unofficial, but like it's official that he like kind of leads the football operations for the Lions now. Chris Spielman coming out of the booth. A lot of teams in the NFL have wanted him for years, and this is, but he's always been close to the Lions, just because of the success that his family has had in the NFL. Rick Spielman's a really good GM. Would you agree with that, Remy?
Yeah. Oh,
and obviously,
yeah. Look at the players we drafted under Spielman.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, he's highly regarded, and Chris Spielman, I think, as a part of that, because his family's been successful in the NFL and evaluating players and such, that he was highly valued, and the Lions are bringing him on to help with the GM search and the coaching search, and just to kind of lead football operations. Because Lions have a guy named Rod Wood right now that's a really good business guy, but he knows jack shit about football. And the Lions have their new owner, Sheila Ford Camp, that wants to bring in a football guy to kind of lead things, and Chris Spielman's close as it gets. Barry Sanders is also involved in GM search to a degree. But so the Lions will bring in a lot of former people into the back end of the organization to kind of help run things. It's interesting. And the GM search right now has expanded out to Rick Smith, the former Houston Texans GM. He did not get fired. He left because his wife had cancer, and he was helping her go through that. But now he's ready to get back in the NFL. This is the guy that drafted Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, A.J. Boye off undrafted free agents, a few other really notable players. So a guy that has a history of winning divisions. I like that one. And then the other one, I don't know if you guys know much about him. From at least his NFL scouting and front office career. But Louis Riddick, the current Monday night announcer, the Lions are also interviewing this week. I'm not a big fan of that. He hasn't worked in an NFL front office, I think, since like 2006 or 7. It's been a long time. He's been at ESPN for a while, but he's always stayed connected and close to the league. His name has been floated around for GM searches before. But the Lions, first of all, that would be the 5th person they've interviewed, which is 2 more than the last time they did a GM search. So I'm excited for that that they're actually interviewing more than 3 people for the most important job in the organization. But I could keep going here, but let's just get to this prediction. The game is what it is this weekend. Lions 10.5-point underdogs. I don't like this matchup at all. It's a terrible matchup for the Lions. So I'm going to say 31-20. Titans win this one, and that's assuming Matt Stafford doesn't play Chase Daniels, their quarterback. There's no over/under on this game yet either right now. Let's go around here really quick. Just give your predictions. Let's go to you, Remy.
Big Z, I've been rooting for the Lions a considerably amount of times this year. And I will still do that this week. Detroit, Mo City, stand up, because you guys will be in the winners column 33-30 in favor of Detroit. Don't lose the faith.
I love it, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I want to go. I want to drive down to Nashville right now. I want to go watch that game on Sunday. Shit, man. All right, you got me pumped. Kinger, are you as excited for the Lions as Remy is?
I can't say I share that same enthusiasm as Remy. But again, you guys have a special bond in rooting for the Lions. I know that's definitely Remy. It appears that's his second squad here in the division. But I don't see this going very well for Detroit on Sunday. This, to me, feels like a game. I mean, Tennessee was very shaky early in the season, but it appears they've got a lot of it together. I see Derrick Henry running all over that Lions defense. Maybe a lot of time of possession in favor of the Titans. So I'm going to go 24-14 Tennessee.
It can't be worse for time of possession than what we saw last week, Kinger, in the Lions-Packers game. It can't
That's
get much
a good
worse.
point. Very good point.
All right, Barney, wrap it up here.
I love that Detroit Lions absolutely scares Vegas shitless, and to the point that they never really put out an over-under line until like game time. The last couple weeks, we're checking on Thursday, on Friday. There's still no over-under line.
That's because of Stafford. That's because Stafford is a huge part of that, because he had the thumb injury. Now he's got his rib injury here, and they never know if he's going to play until later in the week.
I'm going to say Derrick Henry, he's going to get close to 200 yards this game. He might even go over. I think this game is just completely one-sided. I'm going to say 38-10.
Oh, no. That's not going to happen there, Barney. This team has more fight in it under Darren Bevel than it. I would say Matt Patricia's coaching, very possible. Darren Bevel, I'm going to say give it a chance.
I'm just going to say you guys don't tackle well, or don't even show that you want to tackle well. And versus this guy who absolutely leaves just defensive players with concussions with his thigh without even breaking stride. I'm going to say that you guys do not show up at all on defense, and he literally just runs all fucking over you guys. I want to say that the time of possession will be, a little bit, more a 50-50 split, only because I think the second Derrick Henry gets the ball, it's just going to be a house call.
I guess we'll see, Barney. I guess we'll see. But, I think he's going to have a good day, unfortunately. Our defense is we have too many injuries, and the talent is already deficient, let alone with the addition of those injuries. It might be a rough day. So let's go to the final game of the weekend. It's probably the most intriguing, definitely the most intriguing for the NFC North this weekend. And, both teams one game back of the Cardinals in the playoff race, so a lot to play for in this one. Is Mitch Trubisky's career in the line in Chicago in this one? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Matt Nagy, his coaching job maybe on the line. A lot going on here. A lot going on. But the Bears traveling to Minnesota. The Bears 3-point underdogs right now. The over-under is 47. Let's start this one with Remy here. Remy, how do you feel about your Vikings? It's hard to beat a team twice, especially within the division. So how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, this is do or die for Minnesota. There's still, if we go on to lose this game, there's still hope, but it's pretty much kiss it goodbye. Kiss it goodbye. No, the key for Minnesota here is stopping David Montgomery. We all know what he can do. We all saw what he can do. And with Eric Kendricks being without a helmet, who knows if he's going to play? I doubt it. Signs point to no. David Montgomery could be a problem for Minnesota. Now, Kirk Cousins entering this game has 27 touchdowns and 12 picks with a 102 passer rating. And last time he played Chicago, he threw for 292, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. I don't think the offense is a problem here. Justin Jefferson only needs 4 catches to tie Randy Moss's rookie reception record at 69. Nice. So if he can get 5 catches, he breaks it. The offense has potential to explode. Kirk Cousins in the past 2 games has been sacked 10 times. So the offensive line's scary here, especially with Chicago's front, whatever they have there. You don't want to go up against that. It's tough. And going into our injury report, it's our fullback CJ Ham, it's Eric Kendricks obviously not practicing, Kyle Rudolph not practicing, Madison, who had his appendix taken out, our backup running back, not practicing. And then some guys on defense too. But I will continue to say that our success to beat any team really, but especially this team, and make Mitch do Mitch things and feel uncomfortable is just pressure. I feel like Mitch under pressure, and we can't let him get out of the pocket because he's a good runner. Obviously Justin Jefferson up for a big game, Thielen up for a big game, and Cook has to get it going to prove everyone that he is better than Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Barney, are the Bears on a big charge to make the playoffs here?
They better. I just want to take this a few steps back. It's well documented. After our 6-game losing streak capped off by the loss versus Detroit, I thought it was just in our best interest, especially with the 7th overall pick in sight, that it might be a good idea to lose. I won't harp on this anymore. Obviously, we showed up and probably had one of our best games ever as a complete game last week with Houston. I do not think there's going to be much of a difference just because of how many shitty teams there are this year. I don't think there's a big difference between, our draft selection between now and, a possible 3 more wins. Right now we're at 15th pick, and I'd say we'd probably end up around 21 or 22 at the highest. Should we go 9-7? But the Bears, they went out there and they throttled Houston, and obviously this locker room still believes, the defense still believes in themselves at least, and the offense just gave a glimmer of hope. I just want to say a couple things, and this is big here. Bill Lazor taking over the play calls, it hasn't been, anything overwhelming or crazy, anything that's not going to jump out at you and say, holy shit, he's 10 million times better than Nagy. But I just want to bring a couple stats to light. In that time that we played in our last 3 games, the Packers, the Lions, the Texans, before that 3-game stretch, Trubisky had 4 total career games with 3 touchdowns. In those 3 games, he's gotten 2.
Most of them probably against the Lions.
No, he only got 1. He only got 1 versus the Lions. He got 3 throwing touchdowns with the Packers and 3 throwing touchdowns with the Texans. He was 7 TDs for 776 yards. Definitely the best he's played under the Nagy Pace Trubisky era. In that time, only one quarterback has more touchdowns, and that's Aaron Rodgers. All right? I'm not saying it's a complete transformation here, but we are averaging right now in these last 3 games 30 points. And yeah, we didn't play the greatest defenses, but there wasn't a 3-game stretch in this whole era that we averaged 30 points. And so, I would have loved this to start, from the jump, but here we are in week 14, and this is what it is. We still have a chance to get to the playoffs. And I'm going to say it every day of the week. This defense, there's not a single team in the NFC that wants to play our defense. Our offense, it's a completely different statement there. But, I want to bring up a couple guys here. Sam Mustipher. The last time we realigned our offensive line, it really is starting to pay dividends here. Mustipher at center is just playing outstanding. We have Alex Bars taking over the right guard spot, and he's playing a lot better now than he was initially when he came in to replace James Daniels in, I think, week 4. He's coming into his own, and Jermaine Ifedi is kicked out to right tackle in place of Bobby Massey as he recovers from his injury. Dude, Montgomery, in this last 3 games, he leads all the NFL rushing with 7.38 yards per carry. He's got 288 yards on only 39 attempts. He's got 3 TDs. He's also getting catches out of the backfield, 121 yards, 1 TD. We're starting to spread the ball out the way it should be and giving it to our playmakers. And I want to say that, at least from a fan's perspective, these games have been a lot more enjoyable under Bill Lazor's play calling. As for our matchup with Minnesota, on primetime, Kirk got the best of us. He threw 291 yards, as Remy said. He had 2 TDs. He had a good game. I don't see that happening again versus this Bears team.
At home, indoors?
I don't care. I mean, it's tough to beat somebody twice, as Big Z highlighted, but, like you said, make Mitch do Mitch things. We got to make Kirk do Kirk things. As long as we keep Dalvin Cook, right around the 100-yard mark or under, I don't know. I believe that the Bears will take this in the best 3-game stretch that we've ever had in this era. So as we're looking at the wild card standings, it looks like the Seattle Seahawks and Tampa Bay are going to take that 5th and 6th spot. The Cardinals are at 7th. Minnesota right now is at 8th, and Chicago's at 9th. So Cardinals, they got 3 tough teams. They got Eagles, 49ers, LA Rams.
Eagles.
They just need to lose.
The Eagles are going to be good under Jalen Hurts.
Well, they're going to be more competent. I don't know. I don't know if they'll be good. We'll see. It still remains to be seen.
They just played the 2 best teams in the NFC. Good, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Bart. Or pretty close. That's what I'm going to say. Sorry, that was off track, but go ahead, Bart.
No, that's. I mean, I hope the Eagles beat the Cardinals.
Me too.
But we're playing our best football, at least offensively, that we've ever played. And this is a good time. You got to peak in the right times. We're not going to be pretty, but this is a defense that can hold any team when we're playing well under 20 points. So it's not a real big ask for our offense to score over that 20-point mark. So you know what? I think we need to use David Montgomery, keep getting him touches. I want to see him get at least 20 touches, whether that's through the run game or the pass game. I want to see more play action, more rollout with Trubisky, and just let the playmakers do, what they can. Allen Robinson's a stud. I want to say for a prediction here, I think the Bears are gonna shock some people here. We're 3-point dogs. I think the Bears win 27-20.
All right. Kinger, what do you think? Well, let's go to Remy first. Let's go to Remy, the opponent of the Bears, of course.
21-17.
Remy, how do you feel about your Vikings?
21-17 Minnesota. It ain't going to be pretty, and we're definitely taking the under, but Mitch Trubisky is going to do Mitch Trubisky things. Kirk Cousins is going to do Kirk Cousins things, and Justin Jefferson is going to keep on the gritty, baby. 21-17.
Remy, I got an over-under for rushing yards with Dalvin. Do you think he's going to cross the 100 mark?
I hate betting the rushing, but I'd say it's tough to say. I want him to, but if I were a betting man, I would just stay away from that bet.
All right, well, stay away from it then, because that's where I was getting.
Oh, man. Kinger, what do you feel?
I liked Chicago coming into this, and then after hearing Barney, I am even more convinced that I do like the Bears this week. I think Minnesota as a whole did not look good last week. The offensive line looked like they really struggled. If the Bears Bears defense comes to play, I like the momentum they're going on the offensive end, especially them as 3.5-point dogs. I like that 27-20 score Barney said, just to switch it up. I'll go 28-24 Chicago.
Question. First of all, Remy, who is the kicker for the Vikings this week?
Oh, it's Dan Bailey. He's going to come out and get redemption.
It's still Dan Bailey?
Yeah, it's Dan Bailey.
It's still Dan Bailey?
It's Dan Bailey. We did just sign a kicker, Costanzo, to come in and be the emergency backup. But I believe Dan Bailey comes in and redeems himself. I mean,
you guys should give that chick from Vanderbilt a call.
Yeah, no. Just by that, we're going to win by a field goal, so everybody thinks that Minnesota's fraudulent is actually legitimate. So, and I will.
Barney, is Akeem Hicks playing in this game?
Yeah. So the injury report right now, it looks like the biggest question is Jalen Johnson with a shoulder. Buster Screen had a concussion, but I think our backup nickel's gonna do just as good as Buster would.
Agreed.
And Deion Bush is the only other guy. So it's kind of looking a little rough for our secondary there. But if Jalen Johnson can play, it looks like.
And Remy, you're still missing Eric Hendricks.
I mean, he hasn't practiced with a helmet yet, so it doesn't look good.
Not even a helmet.
Not even a helmet. So is Akeem Hicks playing? Did you answer that question?
Yes.
Oh, he is?
He said yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and to be honest, I am so pumped for this game just because, like, you know, it means a hell of a lot more as obviously we're fighting for that last spot, and Dalvin Cook and Akeem Hicks fucking hate each other, man.
Yeah, okay.
It is entertaining.
So don't take that over then, because he was dominating Cook when he was in there, and then he got injured and Cook started going off. Remember that.
So I like the Bears to win this one in the second matchup. I'm sorry, Remy.
I give all the hype to the Lions and nobody. All right, this is.
I'm sorry, but
this is going to be a fun podcast come Sunday night. All I got to say.
That's what he said last week too.
He did. He did. But I do appreciate it, Remy. Of course, I appreciate the love.
I'm sure you do.
I love love, but at the same time, I gotta go with my head here. And I think these teams are just so evenly split. I don't see that one team sweeping the other. So that's why I went Vikings last time they played. And now I'm gonna go Bears. I'm gonna go 24-20. I think will be the score. It'll be a close game, down to the wire. But
very, very Jay Leno of you.
Yeah. But man, it'll be a close one. It'll be a fun game to watch. I'll be watching it on my screen. I mean, Kinger, will this be the game that you're watching on Sunday at noon?
Red zone probably. Red zone probably. That's probably going to be the truth.
All right. So now let's move on to the last segment, and this is a Thursday podcast, so of course that means it's time for best bets. So, Barney, please recap us on how we are doing so far.
Yeah, so it was a pretty damn good week by us last week.
For most of us.
For most of us. I won't kick Kinger, but it just comes with the prize of being first in the NFC. I'm just glad that you can't have it all, man. But the standings haven't changed. It goes Kinger in fourth, Remy in third, Big Z in second, and just by one game,
nipping at you.
Is it 1.5? Because of the tie, I don't know. One game, I'm in the lead here for 13 consecutive weeks. No big deal, guys. I started week 1 off with the big 3-0, so that is 13 straight weeks of first place here. But you guys are catching up. Unfortunately, I don't think you guys are going to catch up this week. If you do anything, you're just going to tie me here because I got 3 winners. First off, I think it's the exact same game that Houston just played. They're facing Indianapolis. I think Indy is basically a mirror image of Chicago with a better offense. I don't see Houston covering that 7-point deficit that they have. I'm going to take Indy -7 hosting Houston.
Wait, Barney, but game, they just played each other 2 weeks ago, and it was a tight game. So you don't think a second game of division, two teams that know each other pretty well. It was 26-20 last time they played, and the Texans had a chance at the end.
Understood. And now that I don't know if you guys saw that game, but Watson he got a little banged up, like actually physically got hurt during the game. Fuller is out, obviously. Brandon Cooks can't see the offense. It's just too many injuries for for Houston, and they got nothing to play for. They don't. If they win, it doesn't matter. If they lose, they're not getting a draft pick. So, what are they even doing right now? I have no fucking clue. But it doesn't matter. Indianapolis by a touchdown. The next game, it makes me feel a whole lot better if Stafford is out. I'll have to revisit this if he does play, but I think 10.5 is just too much for Derrick Henry and them versus Detroit's just defense, especially if Chase Daniels comes into play. I'm a believer as anybody else in Chase Daniel, all right? But I don't think it gets done here in Tennessee. A home game, 10.5 points. You guys don't have Kenny. I love that. And the last one, which I think is just the lock of the century, Chicago +3. Get it while it's hot. It was at 3.5. I think it's going to go to 2.5, maybe even 2 by game time. Chicago at Minnesota, just stepping on Remy's throat for the rest of the year, putting him out of the playoffs. Let's go. Bear down.
All right. I'm sure Remy has different thoughts on that last one, Barney. As we've already gone over the predictions, so you know what his thoughts are. Kinger, let's go to you, man. You got it. Come on, baby. Redemption time. Please.
I appreciate
just for your own sanity.
I appreciate the positive support. I'm trying to hang in there, but this has been a grind. This stretch I've been on. So, we're not even going to give the fiery, we got winners this week. We're just going to throw them out here. I do got some good feelings about some games. I like the role that Buffalo's on. They're 6-point favorites in Denver in the Saturday game ahead of Green Bay. Denver, outside of the Kansas City game, really has not played well or shown up versus any quality opponent this year. Buffalo's really rolling. I like what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball. The defense already, as we know, very good. I'm going to take them in that game. I also like Miami this week at home versus New England, 2-point favorites. I just don't. Miami's defense is very good. They're young with a lot of good talent. New England is so one-dimensional. I'm going to take them in that game as well. And I think I've been debating hard. I've got 2 other games I like, and I've already both been mentioned. And what I'm going to do here, I hate to do it. I like Philly, but I think I'm going to take the Bears as 3.5-point underdogs as well. Barney, you said 3. My site has them at 3.5. That's what I'm saying.
I'll take the extra
like
half.
The matchup this week. Sorry, Remy.
Would you do it at 3, Kinger?
Yeah, I would still. Absolutely.
What about 2.5? I just want to know where you would stop. But on the Bears here.
I might. I like the Bears to win the game. 3's the safe bet, right? But again, maybe a little sprinkle action. Sure. We'll see. But I'm gonna join Barney, and I'm gonna take the Bears as well.
All right. So there.
Well, you're not going 0-3 this week, buddy. I'll tell you that much.
Let's go over to Remy here. Remy, what do you got? Do you have the Bears 3.5 too? 3?
Hell no. No. I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. I'm going to take Vegas. Vegas -3. And this will, if I go 3-0, do I overlap Big Z?
That's not very short, sweet, and to the point.
Well, moving on then. Vegas -3. I'm going to go with the Bills -6. Bills are hot right now, baby. And obviously Kansas City -3. Those are my picks. We're going 3-0. And if I pass King or if I pass Big Z, I pass Big Z. And by the way, fuck the Bears.
Wait, who do the Bills have this week? I'm looking at my board right now.
Broncos.
They don't. It's
Denver.
okay. For some reason, I don't see it on my board. I don't know why.
At Denver, the Mile High State. I think it's a trap game.
It might be. I mean, the Broncos.
They haven't played any good team close, though. Literally any good team close.
I stay away from the Broncos, especially late in the season. I think they have a history of covering in December, actually. I think it's like a pretty decent track record.
All right, let's ride, Remy.
So
let's ride.
I'd probably say, wait, there's this team, the New York Jets, have been playing really well. I'm just kidding. There's no fucking chance in hell anybody should be taking the Jets in anything. So my first one, I actually took this one already at 5.5, but I'll take it at the current line. It sits at 2 right now. That's the Buccaneers traveling to Atlanta. That Atlanta team's a mess. Did you see Matt Ryan at the end of the game last week? He threw 2 interceptions in the last minute and a half of the game. So Matt Ryan threw an interception, then Justin Herbert threw an interception, and Matt Ryan said, "No, you take it back." And then he threw another interception, and then the Chargers actually won on a game-winning field goal. But just had a hilarious last 2 minutes of that game.
Why is the line? I would expect the line to be higher.
I don't know why it's 6.5. I don't know. Probably because the Buccaneers traveling on the road. Atlanta still. I mean, they still have good talent. I mean, that's still a talented team to a degree. But I took it at 5.5. It's sitting at 6.5 right now. So I still like that one a lot. The second one I'm gonna go with here. I'm gonna go with the Eagles at +6. I might take worse odds and just take it all the way up to 7.5, even if it's worse odds, just for safe. But I think that defense is actually playing really good. Jim Schwartz, the defense especially looks good when they don't have to be on the field every 3 downs. When Carson Wentz is playing, they always lost the time of possession. With Jalen Hurts, at least they have a running, attacking, and able to get some first downs to bring that offense out, or keep that defense, give that defense some rest. And then the last one, I mean, if I see the Chiefs at -3 against a Saints team that I think is just okay against the elite teams, I got it. You got to take the Chiefs when you see 3 points. I think at any time, I think you just have to do it. I think Drew Brees is going to be active this week, right? It seems like he's trending that direction. But I mean, he might be a little rusty to start that game. The Chiefs might already be up by 14 at that point. So Chiefs. If you see 3 points, I might bite the bullet and take it to -2.5 just for safe keeping. But man, anytime you get the Chiefs at -3, with yes, please.
Doesn't happen too often.
So I right after this podcast wraps up, I'll be putting the money down now because I think that line goes up to 4.5, which is like the worst line. I hate 4.5 point spreads. Those are the worst. So
backdoor covers.
Bill Simmons calls it the Vegas zone. Like, they don't know what to do with the game, so they just put it like at 4.5, 4 or 5, like right in that zone that nobody likes to bet. Like the Browns. Like the Browns are 5-point favorites right now against the Giants. That's like, we don't know what to do with that one. But yeah, those are my best bets. So that'll wrap up best bets here. Some agreements, some not so much, but especially the Bears, Vikings in particular.
Y'all are haters.
But it should be a really fun and entertaining Week 15. There's only 3 games left in the regular season. A lot of playoff implications still left to be played out. Packers try to get that 1 seed. Bears and Vikings battling it out. It should be fun to watch. Instagram at The Pylon. Please follow us on there. We post our best bets. Barney, you put in some player props up there last week, right?
Oh man, I'm fucking hot right now. I think right now I gotta look at it. I think I'm like somewhere around 29 now. 29 for like 37.
Ridiculous.
It's absolutely unreal. This last week I went like 11 for 12.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, go on Instagram, follow that. We'll post our best bets on there. But in addition to that, just, following information on the NFC North and just interacting with all the NFC North community that we have on there. In addition, Twitter at The Pylon. We just had that recently, so not a ton of followers yet, but we're getting steam, don't worry. So please follow us on there. We really appreciate that. And then leave a review, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a review. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Enjoy this blended weekend. There's college football championships. There's NFL football. It's a fun time of the year, despite the weather outside. So, I mean, just a lot of good stuff football-wise. So thank you, everybody, for listening. For Barney, Kinger, Remy, a Big Z, everybody, enjoy your weekends and enjoy watching some football.
Skull.
Bear down.
Damn it.